rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Paulette O'Brien.
Here.
John Preen. Here. Scott Lathan.
Here.
Brian Tobin.
Here.
In the event of an emergency, visitors are advised that they may exit this room from the one side door which leads directly into the parking lot. In the event of an emergency, everyone is asked to move away from the building and do not attempt to leave in your automobiles, since this may cause traffic problems and block incoming emergency vehicles.
Thank you. This is considered a special meeting because it's kind of a state-required thing to adopt the budget by a certain date. Did I get that right?
And also special meeting.
A special
because we
meeting.
have a little action.
Right, we have to
It's
take
not
care
just
of
a budget.
it. Yeah, but it's, then we have that other mandatory one,
Yes.
like right in the early May, which is
Right,
just, again, a
first week in May.
formality to adopt. Okay, so we're going to do the budget presentation, which is just repeating the stuff that Mr. Scheid's been going over the last few weeks, I believe.
Okay, good evening. So tonight we are proposing to adopt the 23-24 budget. It's a little early this year because we are required to adopt it before the, I believe, April the 18th, and the next board meeting is just right after that. So timing is just it's a little earlier this year. So tonight, the plan is I'm going to go through kind of a summary of what we have discussed over the past couple of months, and again, based on the few months of work that we've been preparing to put a balanced budget together. So some of the highlights for next year's proposed budgets. The budget-to-budget increase is 2.99%. Again, we worked very hard to try and keep it under 3%. With that budget increase, we're looking at a tax levy increase of 2.94%. It's under the tax cap by about $34,000 or so because our tax cap limit was the 3.06%. This budget-to-budget change of same program staffing as the current year. One of the big topics this year is the state aid. Even though I know I saw in the news, the state has not come up with the balanced budget. I think they called it, extended it, so that they have another next week.
But they're going to work through the holiday, they said.
Right. Right. And there was a lot of, when it first came out, some tremendous increases in state aid across the island. Unfortunately for us, what they did is they really just kind of revamped the formula. In the past, they just, with this aid, they went through and based on poverty and all these factors, they tried to make everybody whole. Unfortunately for Southold, our portion of that amount was zero. So we typically, in the last few years, our state aid has been about a little under $30,000. It's typical. But like I said, we don't rely a lot on state aid, which is good and bad. Again, because then it's less they can cut. It's a good part. So just some summaries. Again, we went into detail in the past, but the revenue budget, as you can see, the left-hand side, that's the proposed 23-24 budget. At the bottom, the total budget is the $33,168,000. That's that 2.99% over the 22-23 budget. And just not going through each category, but the main one, the tax levy, that's where we reach out for the taxpayers. That's the 2.94%. And you can see state aid again bumped up just a little bit, as I mentioned, just under $30,000. And everything else is pretty much status quo. Towards the bottom, one of the things we look at every year, because Southold, we have a strong balance sheet. So each year, kind of look at our reserves, our fund balance. So for next year, we are increasing the amount that we use as a revenue source, meaning less we have to go out for the taxpayers, and we just look at the reserves, look at the balances, and then we determine what that amount is. So it fluctuates each year. But like I said, we're in good financial condition, so that is just something that it helps, again, the taxpayers, less we have to go out for. I would like to mention, again, pilot. It's something that's come up about a year or so ago where, unfortunately, the pilot that we have, there's no contract, no exact dollar amount. So it's a little bit of with the LIPA properties of a lot of unknowns with what the duration is, what the amount is each year. The $174,000 for next year is the amount that we actually received this year. And like I said, speaking to the town, they really have no, I'll say, strong evidence of how much it's going to be each year, and will it continue? So there's a lot of question marks on it, but we just have to do the best we can, and we're requiring, and again, that's just the money that we don't have to raise for taxes. Last year was a great benefit when we added the pilot, because that just means, again, say the tax levy goes down. The difficulty is the planning part of it. If pilot ever drops off, then it's almost a spike up. So that's where we try and make sure we plan for it and basically give notice of the amount, so this way we can, again, prepare for it.
So is LIPA the only pilot we get?
I'm sorry?
Are LIPA properties the only pilots we get?
I think Southold.
I thought it was out east by the ferry, by the Orient, is
No,
my
I'm just saying
understanding. The LIPA.
The only pilots that we get are
Nobody else, no. A couple of years ago, we used to get,
Southold was
maybe 10 years ago, it was a couple of $1,000s. It was a small amount from properties that were,
That's the one I'm thinking of.
right, it's, like I said, it was so minimal, it didn't matter. But that, when we had a contract, I forget which property it was, but for a while, we didn't have any pilot. Each year, again, based on, I guess, the town, what they decide, any kind of agreements. Okay, again, it's just a one-page summary for the expenditure budget. Again, the left side's the 23-24. Adds up to that $33,168,000. As you can see from the main codes, the categories, really, again, not much difference or nothing unusual, except when you get down to the large one is the benefit change. So the main culprit is the health insurance. It's, I believe it's like 8.75% increase for the health insurance. And that's actually pretty good. There's other plans I've seen where they're in the double digits.
Empire was 15%.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what else? Something we're looking at is when we're dealing with transportation for the next couple of years, seeing where that goes with the agreement. So for right now, that does have a 6% increase. And of course, the main one is the instructional programs, which includes, of course, salaries is the main driver. Debt service, again, you can see it's pretty much flat. Same thing with transfer to capital.
Is 6% increase going to be enough for that transportation?
Right now, we're ordering all our buses. It's possible we don't need the 5 we have.
Okay.
We're gonna get it worked out.
Okay.
We had a 34% transportation increase this year, which was given to us a month and a half after we did our budget, our first budget runs. So the choice is figure out, options for making it work, and they've been good about the possibility of splitting that 34% over 2 or 3 years. So,
That would be helpful.
yeah, so we're gonna figure out how to make it work within what we have as a budget now. We're ordering all our buses to see exactly how many kids we have on each bus. Because we have some buses that have 22 elementary kids, and, we can combine some of those. And so we're working on it to try to make sure we can keep it in between whatever numbers that we have to without cutting other things out of. The option to keep your budget balanced is, if you're adding 34%, which is a $200-something-thousand increase for us, is to cut $200-something-thousand out. And, we really didn't want to cut anything out. So we believe with working with them and them being reasonable with us, doing our due diligence on everything, that we're going to be able to do it with the 6% that we had originally put into the budget.
Okay, estimated tax billing. So this one I didn't go through every, because houses are assessed at different valuations, but the average house in Southold is assessed at $7,000. That increase would be $191 a year, or $16 per month. If you did want to calculate it based on, say, your property, the estimated tax is 95.436 for every $100 of assessed valuation. The estimated increase would be 2.724 per $100 of assessed valuation. And this is estimated based on the valuation basically as of December 22. So if the valuation changes, which we have no, we can't control it, so it could go, it could increase, could decrease, then of course the tax bill is changed by that amount. But again, that's based on the valuation we have as of right now, which is the best number. These numbers are based on that. Just a history, a chart for the tax levy increase. As you can see, we're just under the 3% over the past 10 years or so. Again, you can see we haven't really hit 3%, maybe just the 1 year. I think it is, again, because of this large consumer price index. I was just filling out getting ready for the budget brochure. We're looking at the CPI on that form is going to be 8%. So we're dealing with a lot of supplies and even our utilities has grown over this, say, this what we call that 2% tax cap, and of course the tax levy. So that's why I think you see those numbers inch up to that 3%. Like I said, we're still trying to. I think there's working out and watching what we spend in order to meet to kind of come in the middle, right? Spending 8%, and revenue's only like 2-3%. So we're going to be working very hard each year. It's all about planning and trying, make sure we maintain our reserves and fund balance and so on. This is another factor, how the tax levy is calculated using the tax-based growth factor. This is something we have no control over. I always say it's the brick and mortar changes in the district. Again, this year was another good year where it was over 1%. In the past, it was averaging probably around the 0.5, 0.6%. And again, that just allows us to increase our current tax levy for next year to see what we can go up to. I think it's important, we're just going to, next two slides, is just talk about, because out there's a lot of money to school districts, and for the American Rescue Plan, we are receiving $1.1 million and change. It's a 3-year grant. It's important to note it's used to supplement the budget, not supplant, meaning it's not something we can move some salaries from teachers and pay for it out of the grant. This is just above and beyond the budget. To really get to talk about addressing learning loss, making sure the kids are really trying to keep them up to where they might have been if school wasn't out of session and so forth. So that's all about improving air quality and various other needs based on the grant documents.
Examples of things that we put in that were like the summer enrichment program was all funded out of that. That's why there was no cost to anybody. The new ventilation system on top of the auditorium was fully funded out of that because air quality and ventilation and circulation. So we were able to do a number of those things throughout the district. A little bit of the money from the tennis court project came out of that grant because any outdoor exercise use would all fit into it. So, those are going away. One which is about a $500,000 one ends in September, and then this one is a year after.
They're like one-shot things. You have to take
They're
used to
one-shot
them.
things. They were both, one was 2 years, one was 3 years. But the 3-year one they told us about almost a year into. So it really was like, we were filling it out one summer, Chuck and I, and we were backing all of our, our personal protective, everything we spent on personal protective devices, the masks, the sanitizers, the ultraviolet lights, all that was allowed to go into it. And, we had spent all that, and then we had to come and, account for it. And so it was a bit of, it was a little disorganized, but we've been able to spend a good deal of it on things that will serve Southold for many years to come. And, things that eventually would have been done, out of tax monies, so it's kind of worked out fairly well for us, that, it was a little rushed and a little chaotic.
Okay, and the other grant, which is the shorter 2-year, same theory, $524,000 for this Carissa grant. Same thing for the same type of, anything to improve for the maintain the health and safety of students, educational technology, etc. So this is the one we're working on. It's due in September. So we're wrapping up spending this money. Again, it's recorded separately, not in the general fund. What I mentioned in the second proposition that's up for vote outside of the general fund budget is the approving spending money out of the capital reserve. We are anticipating, so the boiler replacement, both buildings, we put a cap on it of the 3.4 million. That number comes from, that's the amount that's in our capital reserve that was set up back in 2010. So it was a 10-year reserve. It's been built up and spent out of it, and so that's what's left in it. So like I said, we see the need. It's my understanding, I don't want to get too much into detailing and catch myself, but the boilers are in good shape. We maintain them. They're great. This might be several issues, but the one issue is the fact that parts are very hard to come by. It's not like you can go to any store and get parts for the boiler. There's a real strong possibility if a part breaks or something happens that we won't be able to fix it. Again, you have to find other machines. Like I said, no store they don't make a lot of the parts. I'm not sure if Dr. Mora wants to.
Our
Is this-
boilers are between 20 and 30 years old in each building, and they're, like Chuck said, they're in wonderful condition for 20 to 30-year-old boilers. But 20 to 30-year-old boilers are hard to get repaired. We were told by, our architect when he came through that when we do replace our boiler, the company will offer to buy all the parts out of it that work, because that's the only way you can get parts now is by buying them from people that replace their boilers and put in new ones. So we do have, we've run into some problems. Our boilers here, we had to get repaired mid-year, emergency repair. We also had to do a repair on the circulation. I don't know the exact name, we put the pump, we had to completely replace it here. The elementary is leaking right now, one of them. The other one is working. So and when our architect came in and did our 5-year plan, he told us, one of your priorities is going to be boilers. He said, you're not going to be able to get them repaired in a few years. The hard part with boilers is, and the hard part with any work on school property is, right now it's running almost 11 months for New York State approval to get the work done. So even estimating a price, 11 months, the prices of everything are fluctuating so much that when we talked about doing this work a year ago, it was actually higher. It was almost $1 million a boiler, and now it's less than that. It was less than $3 million for 4 boilers. Was the estimate that he got at that time. Where it's going to be in 11 months, we don't really know. We can't do all 4 boilers at one time anyway. We would probably do one building at a time.
I have 2 questions, actually. You need SED approval to replace boilers?
You don't need SED approval. Well, technically, yes, you do need SED.
But we're not looking for reimbursement from the state, right?
Yeah, but you still have to have approval from New York State.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that.
Spend our own money?
Right, you're not extending the building or,
We're designing anything.
right. I'm
Doing
really
ma-
surprised about that.
Just ask for forgiveness.
Right. My other question is, I understand the boilers in this building are super, super old as compared to the elementary. I would think
Older here, yes.
I think a lot of years older.
10 or 15 years old.
I think that's considerable, so I would think that this building would have to be a priority as far as,
It's funny, we have more issues right now in the elementary with their boilers. That's the one
Wow.
that's leaking that they're not sure if they're gonna be able to repair. Well, we're not using, we don't need both of them down right now.
It's interesting.
Temperature changes and everything.
There's 2 of them over there, too?
There's 2 in
Yeah.
each building.
But these
And they're
are like
very
ancient,
large.
ancient,
You can only
those
build
were when we
one
built the building.
That's how, they're, they're the size, half the size of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I've
they're
seen
not-
them.
When you say boiler, it's not like the boiler in your house.
No,
They're
they're,
enormous, so you can run an entire building of this size on one boiler. They're
I'm-
both dual fuel.
okay, I'm kind of going back to what Scott said. I say we just,
Just fix them while they work and
talk
then,
to,
oops, sorry.
talk to the
I'll talk to
attorneys.
Mike about it. Even if we weren't waiting for state approval, it takes months to get jobs done now.
That I understand, but
Parts are, supplies.
that I understand, but you can't wait for 11 months for the state and then,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it takes months and months to get it done. The state is holding it back because they just don't have inspectors.
but if we have to wait for their approval to then go out, you're talking twice as long, and I think that could be a real problem, financially and for the district if
I'll sign it.
they can't out.
Roll the dice,
Yeah, the board will take the hit.
assuming.
Not you, it's the board.
My life insurance for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's a repair, not a replacement.
Right. But we found out we can't use the repair reserve for that. Okay, thank you, sorry to.
Okay, again, yeah, just to kind of even just to drill in the point that there's no cost to the taxpayers. This is monies, again, over the 10 years, any kind of surplus money we were building up the capital reserve. So this is money we have already. It would just be the approval to spend it for this specific purpose. And like I said, so no cost to the taxpayers.
In the brochure that is really highlighted, and I think between now and May, we have to continue to,
This is your, this is the money you put away, so that when something.
For the rainy day.
breaks,
It's the rainy day.
Take the money from that account and spend it, without having to take a loan, without having to borrow, without
right,
having to.
there's no impact to the taxpayers.
That's what these funds are designed for. And Southold is very healthy in those funds. It has been, since before I ever came here. When I came, our funds for these things were very healthy. They're not outrageous because these are expensive jobs you have to do. They look like large numbers to us. They look like large numbers to me, but then when you get an estimate of, 2.9 million for 4 boilers, it's really not a large number. So when you're saving to do roof work, and it costs $1 million to do roof work, you have to put that money away. So these are monies that are not additional to taxes. They're monies that have been put away every year in case we need to use them for certain things. And when we vote, when it's voted on, these are the only things we can use it on. So if it costs us half that to do the job, then the other half doesn't come out of the reserve. And then the next time we need it for something else, the committee will vote on using it for something.
This is the one reserve that needs voter approval in order to expend, so I think that's important to note as well.
Okay, finally, it's the last slide. So we do have a planned meeting May 3rd, budget meeting, and the big date is May 16th, 2023 for the budget vote. Any questions?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just have a couple of actionable items, and we are done. I need a motion to adopt the budget recommended by the superintendent for the 2023-2024 school year and the property tax report card to be submitted to the SED. The total planned expenditure is $33,168,000.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Our Yay robotics team did really, really well at the regionals, so we need a motion to approve Team Rice's Team Rice 870's trip to the World Championship in Houston, Texas, April 18th through April 24th, 2023. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And our academic quiz bowl team also enjoyed a successful 2022-2023 season, with JV team being ranked number 1 in the Eastern Suffolk Division. The Southold varsity and JV quiz bowl teams will be attending the Academic Quiz Bowl National Academic Association competition in New Orleans, departing Saturday, May 27th, and returning Tuesday, May 30th. The students will miss 1 day of school. I need a motion to approve the trip for the Quiz Bowl teams to attend the national competition in New Orleans, May 27th through May 30th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
How are
Eh.
these trips funded?
So,
Some are in the budget and some of them they fundraise for.
combination.
And our virtual enterprise, I would love for them to come to a meeting before the end of the year, because I think this is one of the coolest things that junior senior high school does, because
I got to go to their presentation. Their competition at Post and see them
Can you have
present.
them come present it? Because I think it's just like real-world stuff. Anyway, the Southold Virtual Enterprise 2022-2023 firm, Climb, has advanced to the national level of competition for its marketing plan and financial overview for the second year in a row. Climb is one of just 40 firms across the nation who have been invited to present live in front of a panel of judges at the Youth Business Summit in New York City on April 16th through April 19th. The students will miss 3 days of school. I need a motion, this is senior students, I think it's important to note that these students are only in the senior class. I need a motion to approve the trip for the Southold Virtual Enterprise firm Climb to attend the Youth Business Summit in New York City, April 16th through April 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have a couple of personnel, two personnel. Ryan Davis, we are going to hire as our ENL teacher effective May 6th, 2023 through June 23rd. And then he will come back in September as a regular teacher effective August 30th through August 30th, 2027. And then Samantha Camp is a teacher aide, resignation effective April 6th, 2023. A motion to accept these recommendations?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. That's that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Everybody have a wonderful holiday.
I think